We're live.
Oh, fantastic. Hi, everyone. I'm Stacy Henderson. I am the CEO of Keep.com. And today is our very last interview for our Style and Grit series for Women's History Month. And I am so excited. As they always say, last but not least, we have the fabulous, lovely Mimi Plange with us today, the designer, who I am so happy to join us today. Thank you so much, Mimi, for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been a big fan of yours, of course. You know that bag I have of yours, which
Yes.
that was a very scary moment. It was the last one left. I'm like, I need that bag. So anyway, so thank you for joining us today. And can you tell us a bit about Mimi Plange, your label, and when you started it?
So Mimi Plange was, it really started around 2007, 2008. We had a line that was called Boudoir Duit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of like an experimentation. I think I was still working at that time, and we started this brand, and I didn't really know what was gonna, come of it. And then things started becoming a lot more serious, and we decided to change the name. And because it was very hard to pronounce,
Yep.
we had some, red carpet issues where people were like boudoir or something, And
Yes.
so we were like, okay, let's simplify it, and we just called it the name. And we've really been, in business since 2010. And since we've launched, we've shown seasonally. We've been around the world to show our collections, and we've dressed some amazing women, and we've grown our business. So I don't know. What else do you want to know?
So that's good. So when you say show seasonally, for those of you, again, this series is about, we're focused on the most amazing women in the fashion industry, because we do know the things from this industry we can apply anywhere. But when you say shown seasonally, where did you show it? What does that mean, shown seasonally?
So the fashion industry runs on a fashion calendar, and the fashion calendar usually runs like 4 to 6 times a year. And you can show during spring, summer, autumn, winter. Then there's resort, cruise collections, and most big brands, like, they'll show multiple times a season, and then smaller brands kind of show twice a year. So we've shown in New York Fashion Week, and then now there's fashion weeks all around the world. So we've shown in South Africa,
Oh, great.
we've shown in Sweden, we've shown in Cote d'Ivoire. So we just kind of like do our own thing. We don't stick on a specific schedule. We
Yeah.
just kind of do what works for us as a
Okay.
small brand.
Cool. So I have to ask, so when she walked in, I'm like, why can't I look like this every day? Are you wearing, of course, your own label?
I'm in all Mimi Plange. Of course, this is from our newest collection,
Oh my God.
and
Wow.
and our new jacket, and I always have my rings.
Oh my goodness, this
my
is amazing.
glasses.
So, but I'm hopeful that one day we can do a cool Keep Mimi Plange collaboration.
Of course.
Okay,
I would love
fantastic,
to.
fantastic. So, you mentioned that you were, so tell me, how did you become a designer? What did you do? Did you go to school for? Did you learn as you go along? How did you become a designer?
So I always wanted to be a designer, like, from a very young age. I knew, like, around 11 or 12 that that's what I was going to do.
Yep.
And so I used to hoard magazines in my bedroom, and I would read everything from cover to cover. I was, like, completely obsessed. And when I mentioned it to my mom, because my mom used to be a model when she was in Ghana. She used to model for Drum Magazine and all these things, and she was like, you're not going to be a designer. They don't make any money. And so I kind of had it in the back of my head, and I started reading about all these designers, and I fell upon Gianfranco Ferré, and found out that he had been an architect first, and my uncle was an architect, and I kind of liked that. So I decided that I would study architecture at UC Berkeley, and after I graduated, I went to fashion school in San Francisco at FIDM, and then as soon as I graduated with my fashion design degree, I moved to New York with like $400 and a big dream, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. And that was
I
it.
love it. So you, wait, was it really $400?
It was really $400.
Amazing. I love that. So talk about, I want to just, if you don't mind, I want to talk a bit about your collection and your inspiration for when you design. Is it based on something? Tell us a bit about when you start to design, and is it based on anything?
Well, my design, like, I really consider what we do to be American design inspired by Africa.
Okay.
And so I was born in Ghana, but I came to the US when I was 5 years old, so I'm not gonna tell like a pure African story because I grew up in America, pretty much. And so it's a story about all these different dynamics that are going on. Of course, I have this strong cultural base there and here, and I'm kind of mixing and molding everything together because we live in America, and this is like a melting pot of different cultures and different things. And so when I was young, I used to look through all those magazines and see inspirations of fashion that was inspired by Africa. It was always very specific to me. Like, it was always based off of like Maasai beading, or if it was like colors, or it was like patterns and prints that weren't even African to begin with. And it was always focused on that. And I always said that when I was gonna have my line one day, I was gonna tell a different story, and I was gonna show a different side of Africa that we don't typically look at. And I'm using Africa as a broad term. Of course, there's a lot of different countries and a lot of different cultures within it, but I actually do pull from Africa as a whole, so that's why I'm saying that. But my mom had a scar on her cheek, and I used to talk about it a lot because some of my family members also have like these markings, and it's scarification. And when she was 13, you get it as a coming of age, but then different cultures, they do more and more of it, like you get it on your abdomen, on your neck, and some of them are fine, some of them are big. And I just used to think about how like cultures would translate like the things that they do into modern day fashion. Because like if you look at like Chinese culture or things like or Japanese, how we love to wear kimonos today, and we mix it into American fashion. I wondered, what if this style of, because this was dress before there was clothing dress. This was how people expressed themselves. Everyone had different markings on their body, and I just thought, how would it be if we took these identities and move them into something really modern today? And that's really what kind of like inspires everything that we do.
Amazing. Wow. Wow. This is, so we're going to feature some of Mimi's things. So just one thing, first of all, I'm going to get to some of the questions from our readers, or from our readers and our keepers. If you have any questions, please feel free to send them over. There's Lily behind the camera who will let us know. And also, just FYI, after this, in the next, sometime this week I assume, there will be a part of this video up, and we're going to also show on Keep some of your fabulous designs, okay? Yes. So let's talk about the biggest challenge, because I know that everyone right now, I think especially because you know, you are an entrepreneur, you are a creator, right? And everyone right now is like entrepreneur fever. It's like, I want to be an entrepreneur. There's a lot of work that goes into that. So I want to talk about this. So for any of you women who are entrepreneurs, we don't want to discourage you. We just want to make sure that today we have someone here who's done it and that could give you some advice and just be real about it, right? So what are some of the biggest challenges that you see as an entrepreneur?
I just think that when you have your own business, there's nobody pushing you or prodding you to push you forward. You wake up every morning, you have to decide that you're going to get work done. You know, you have to decide that you're going to meet your own deadlines. So there starts to be this like this depth of, you know, pulling from you. You're the only person that can make it happen. You know, and nobody cares about your excuses. You know, you'll learn that really quickly, like why you couldn't do this or why you couldn't do that. Like in the world of things, like nobody cares why you can't do anything. All that matters is what's done. So like giving up excuses, just really learning that what you want has to be, you know, a strong passion in you. Like, I want to be creative. In a perfect world, I wish I could just design all day. That's really what I want to do. But there's emails to be, you know, made. We have to make sure that certain bills get paid. The website has to be updated. There's business things. You have to meet new people. You have to interact. You have to, you know, there's a lot of other things besides design if you want to be creative in the design world. But there's a lot of other things that you have to think of. So the challenge to me has really just been, you know, pushing yourself and saying, even when you have your lows, just trying to stay high. No matter what, because there's always going to be, you know, a roller coaster. Nobody just shoots all the way up and then like nothing ever happens. Like you have to be prepared for the lows too. And so I would say that that's just the biggest challenge. It's your mind frame. It's getting your mind right.
You know, I think that is such of a good thing across the board in business, but especially someone that's thinking about entrepreneur, start, whatever. It's not just going to be like, whew. And the thing is, in larger companies, I think people feel it, right? Or you don't feel it in larger companies. Even if there are, you know, you still have someone over here that can make a little cushion for you. But when it's you, when you're like doing it and everything depends on you, you have to be ready for those highs and lows, right?
Yes, definitely, for sure.
You mentioned something interesting. I'm going to give a shout out to Dana, who worked with me at Versace and then at Westfield. You mentioned something about no excuses, because this is about giving women career tips. I have to be honest, as a person who's managed, and one thing I always try to do is not to give any excuses. And I'm mentioning Dana because she had this saying when I would come and say, why isn't da da da? And she would start, because she's very hyper, and then she would stop and just say, I have nothing to say. I'll get it done. And you know, honestly, at the end of the day, that's really all you want to hear. You did it, and now you're just going to move on. So I think that's a really good point for some of our viewers out there. Now, let's talk about women who've influenced your career. So if you can think of women who've influenced your career the most, who would they be?
Well, my mom is the main one. And everybody says their mom, I know, but it's true. I mean, I can't help that. It's true. Like she, you know, just her work ethic, and also the same kind of sayings of like not having excuses, and like even though we grew up like in a situation that was very difficult, you know, she always would make it, you know, tell me that, you know, it's how you see yourself in this world, you know. There's gonna always be other people that, you know, may doubt you or push you down, but she was like, that doesn't really have to be your reality if you don't want it to be.
Oh, I love
and,
that.
And I just think that knowing that, I think it's to me, everything is about energy. It's about the way that you feel when you walk into a room. It's the way that you address people. It's the way that you react to people, and that really determines, I think, your space in which you move. And so for me, because my mom, like, of course, she never hounded us about like our work or anything. She just kind of let us do our own thing. But we were all, you know, she just let us know that whatever you want to do, it's up to you, and you're gonna work on it. Like she was like, I really can't afford to send you to college, so it's like if you want to go, you have to make it happen. Like everything was, you know, that way from the beginning, and I don't take it as a down, I take it as an up, because it pushed me like right away because I knew what I had to do.
So did you work through college? Did you?
I did.
You did.
I worked the entire time I was in college. I had like 2 jobs.
Oh my God! Are we sisters?
Like, you know, I know. I was working all the time. I've always worked. You know, I worked up until we launched this brand.
Wow, good. That's good for you. Everyone made fun of me in college. I think I had 2 or 3 jobs at a time. They're like, oh my gosh, she's always working. So I feel it, and I have to be honest, I do think it's a good lesson learned, because it's about what you want and going after it. So that's really great. So your mom, is there anyone else? Any other woman?
I'm trying to think. The thing is, I'm really sad to say that I haven't really worked with women in a higher, I've always worked with like men in the higher positions.
Really?
And I'm trying to think of any woman I've ever worked with, and I didn't have one.
Oh, okay.
Which is really sad.
Well, mom is a good one. Mom is a good one. So I know you talked about challenges of an entrepreneur. If there's a piece of advice, one piece of advice, I'm at home, I'm thinking, you know, should I leave my job, should I stay, or I'm fresh out of college, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna forego the corporate ladder, and I'm going to start my own business. What is the one piece of advice you would give to anyone who's looking to do that?
I just think that, you know, before you launch a business, I think that you should really save enough for you to be able to live and work on your business for at least, I would say, 1.5 years, and I would really say 2.
Wow. So so saving the money
before you decide to do that, I think you should, because no matter what kind of business you have, in the early stages, there's always money coming out, but not so much coming in.
Yes.
And it just doesn't matter. I mean, I've seen people do it, you know, want to be designers, and then they just like run out of money because they're like, well, nobody bought. But you know, it takes time to be a designer, because people have to get to know you. You buy brands that you believe in, that you've known for a long time, that have built history with you. And now your new brand, sometimes you might get lucky, and right off the bat, you might shoot up, and everybody might want to buy your clothes. But if that doesn't happen, you have to, you know, plan and know that that actually takes time. And so I would just say, you know, really plan accordingly, and don't have expectations, and don't really compare your business to other people's businesses, because your story may be so different. Like one thing, I was on a panel with high school students not too long ago, and I was talking to them about, you know, because they were like, well, I'm not sure because this person did this and this person did that, and I was like, you can look at other people, but what if what you're doing doesn't look like anything that's ever been done before? Is that gonna deter you? What if what you're doing is new? What if you're the new thing? You know, so you have to like really believe in yourself.
Yes.
You know, and understand that nobody owes you anything and nobody has to give you anything. And that you should appreciate every single moment, you know, that you go through, and just focus on your ups.
Yep.
Because there's going to be a lot of no's and a lot of downs, and but just focus on your ups, you know, and keep it going.
And celebrate those ups, right?
Mhm.
Celebrate them every step of the way. So the takeaway from that is 1.5 years of savings when you want to start your maybe two, start your own business, because you know you're right. Especially it is, you know, money can go out and you don't want to have to stop your dream. So that's very good advice. You mentioned something about no's, and it was so interesting. There's a woman, I think you know her as well, Dee Poker, you know her. She had an interview, and in her interview she said, as a founder I'm told, or as an entrepreneur founder, I'm told no 7 times a day. And I just have to keep on going. I don't know why for me. I actually was telling Aina this. Hi Aina, if you're watching. I was telling Aina this because, and Aina said, I'm a model, I'm used to rejection. And I have to be honest, I am not used to being told no a day, but that's a part of being, you know, especially a creative, an entrepreneur. How do you deal with that, to especially just keep on going and not thinking that 7 people's no is like a finite, just stop?
Well, that was actually something that I did have trouble with in the beginning. I would sometimes not even ask because I didn't want to hear no. And so that was a huge problem that I had to overcome, because it's just not going to serve you well in business at all. And so I had to, you know, I started just understanding that things are not really personal, because sometimes I have to say no. And so the perspective that really helps me out is like, sometimes when I say no, I like the person. I may even like what their thing is, but I may feel like it's not in line with my brand. That's all, you know? And then I have to say no. And that person might, you know, get upset or feel like how I would feel if someone says no to me, because I may believe in something and then go ask for it, and then someone might shut me down. But people are doing what's really best for them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it has anything to do with you, and it might not mean that what you're doing is not good. That shouldn't be the first thing that comes into your head when someone says no. You can also think, they're crazy. You know, like that's another thing in the mind. It's all mind games, and it's all like the way that, you know, you choose to receive information and give it back out. So for me, I think the main thing is just understanding that it's not personal.
Yeah.
And that when a door closes, another one opens, and there's a lot of paths to get to where you're trying to go. Like there's not any one way. There's no gatekeepers. There's no one. If somebody hates you and whatever, they can say things about you. Your life is not going to be over because of one person. You know, like those things are all lies. You know, there's a lot of people in this world, and there's a lot of people doing things a lot of different ways. And so just know that. Just like be like, no, fine. You know, I'll move on. I'll try something else. And just brush it off your shoulder. It doesn't really matter. You don't know that person. You don't have to think about them all the time. Don't let people occupy like your space like that.
Oh, this is so awesome, by the way. I mean, and I have to say, at the start of it, at Keep, which was small, it's so nice to hear that. And then we have a great following and everything like that. But, and I think for young or middle or whatever age you are people, it's I think that's super important to know. I was at a panel last week where there were entrepreneurs on the panel, and the one woman said, "Listen, I had to go to 28 different people for funding, and they all told me my idea sucked."
Oh my gosh.
28. Could you imagine preparing for 28 different presentations? Listen, by the way, she has one of the fastest growing e-commerce business out there.
Wow.
So it's interesting what you mentioned. I want to say this is super important for entrepreneurs, that you know there's not one way, and you don't take it personal. May not be right for them. And what I always think about for me in life and everything, I think about all the people who said no to some billion-dollar businesses. When Netflix went to Blockbuster, they laughed in his face, you know. And there's another one. I think the guy who wrote his thesis on FedEx, he went somewhere, and everyone was like, "That's the worst idea in the world." And these are, you know, billion-dollar businesses now. So, very good advice. Very good advice. A few more questions, and we're going to get to some style things, which I am so excited to ask you about. Any sacrifices you see as an entrepreneur or a woman in business? What are sacrifices that you've done?
Oh my gosh, so many. Everything has changed. Because it's almost like when you have a business, it's almost like now you have a baby. it's not like a real baby, but it's your baby.
Mhm.
And when you make choices about like things that you want to do, you may want to go on some crazy vacation or something like that, but you might really need this fabric, you know, or things like that that have to start changing the way that you think. It becomes like part of your well, it's your life,
Yeah.
you know, and so you know, you might not be able to hang out with your friends as much, you know, and you may not be able to do as many things as you wanted to do. So there's sacrifices that way. There's sacrifices just in life, your whole person, your what you have to give up, the time that you have to give up. Those are all sacrifices, because to me, life is very, very short. So you know, all of that is a sacrifice, and it's all in the belief that there's this great thing that you want to create and share with the world. And so that belief has to be so strong, because I feel like my life has been a whirlwind, you know, and I'm hoping that at some point, you know, well, not hoping we will, but get to a point where, you know, you can vacation, then you have people working on your brand and all this stuff, but all of that takes a lot of due diligence, a lot of work, and that's what you're working towards. But it is definitely a sacrifice, like just your being, the way that you are. You're not free to do everything that you want to do because you have this business.
Yes.
And all the decisions are always based around this business.
Yes.
So.
Oh, wow. So strong. But so let's talk about, though, when you talk about the sacrifices, and is there anything, not just in your whole entire career, even from deciding to go to college, is there anything you would have done differently?
To be honest, I see, I feel two ways about that kind of question, because to me, I feel like when you do things, you have to just make your choice and then deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no would've, should've, could've, because that is like, you know, it's just draining. It's just, you know, but now that I've said that, what I would have rather done is I wish I would have come to New York a little sooner.
Really?
When I think about it now, I think right when I graduated from Berkeley, I should have come to New York and maybe gone to fashion school in New York. Not to, you know, belittle my fashion school in San Francisco, but I think that wouldn't have been a bad idea, because when I got here, I noticed that like in the fashion community, like going to certain schools is very important.
Yes.
And you know, people are the way that they are about certain things. And I think that you could move a little bit faster, but it's not detrimental. Like to me, it's like I'm still gonna get to where I'm gonna go. I'm still gonna get what I want. It might take a little longer, but I do think that certain things like that, or if I would have moved to Paris maybe right after school, like those are the things, but nothing else. I mean, I think everything has brought me to this point right now, and I appreciate where I'm at right now.
Fantastic. Oh, this is so inspiring, by the way. I know that our viewers are loving this. So I actually am getting chills by listening to like words of wisdom from an entrepreneur. It's so amazing. And then one question that comes from our viewers constantly: mentors. Did you have any mentors along the way?
I sadly did not.
You did not.
And that really made me sad. For a long time, I used to think about it. I used to wish that I would encounter someone and they would just like swoop me up under their wing and tell me everything, and I'd learn so much stuff from them. And you know, I used to want that really, really bad, but it didn't really happen like that for me. And that's okay, you know. But you know, having a mentor, I think seeking one out is really good. And I also didn't seek one out as much as I probably should have at the time. So I think it's good though, because I think it's good to talk to people and also exchange and also give them your support and not take away, not just drain people, because so many people like they'll send emails and stuff and say, oh, you know, I want to pick your brain, I want to find out about what you did and all this stuff, and it's like draining, but also people like to be around people who make their life easier, or
Yes.
they bring something too, so you can't just like suck all the energy out of. So when people are helping you, you also have to think about, you know, just what you can also bring too, you know.
And so if there's someone, if I know that, like you said, you get emails all the time,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. Like, how did you do it? What did you do? I want to pick your brain. When you say helping you, would that mean sending you an art? What is helping you? I think this is super important for people to understand, because I know the big question is, if I see someone successful, or if I see someone I want to be like them one day, how do I even get started? So what are ways that you're like, okay, this is cool, maybe I'll take a call for your phone call, or even respond to an email?
Mm-hmm. What are the things? I think, like, you know, for me, the responses come from like the approach, like the way that you decide to write. Like I think when you reach out to someone and you want to find out more about them, I think it's good to just tell them your background, tell them where you come from, and really be an honest and true get to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like it should be. And the only way that you can help, I don't think you have to do much, but you can support. I mean, now you can support on social media, or you can. I mean, those are things. You know, they matter.
Yes.
They help. And so I just think, you know, reaching out to someone, and also you don't have to offer anything of yourself. But when they do spend that time, just be thankful, you know, and I think that that's all that is really required. But and I also think you have to be careful, like when you want to reach out to people and you want it to be professional, you know, do it on email, don't do it on Facebook Messenger and those type of things. You know, I know it's a different world,
Yes.
but I still like I don't really take everything seriously that I see. I don't even look through all those things. But
Yes.
I just think if you really want that connection, I think, you know, send an email, tell them who you are, and that's it. You know, that's just try. I mean, most of the time, I remember when people used to tell me when I was in high school, you should just write letters to people. You never know. Like, some of these companies are really small. They'll answer. And I used to be like, no way. You know, but now that I'm in business and I know other businesses and other business, really, sometimes it's like 5 people there or something like that. They probably may answer your email, so just send it. You know?
Absolutely. I think that's really good advice. And like you said before, it's like, just do it. Just do it and hope that, you know, someone will reply back. There's no need to like say no and, you know, negate yourself in the situation. So let's talk about style, which I'm super excited to talk about with you. So for our for the keepers out there, for everyone's watching, if someone needs some super cool pieces for the spring, what are 2 or 3 must-haves they need to have this spring?
Well, I'm very much like a kitchen staple. I like uniforms. I like to wear the same things all the time. And for me, I think in the springtime, I love a white shirt. I think that, you know, that's just something that's an investment piece. You need to have a couple. And I would also say just 2 things. I would say a pencil skirt, you know, just to give you some sense of sharpness. And then also like, I would say a skirt that flows. You know, 2 or 3 things and a blazer, because to me, I can work a lot with just those things over and over in different ways. So for me, those would be my staple items for the spring.
And if there's investment pieces, like, you know, it's time to splurge, what would those, for you, what are those good splurges, investment pieces?
I think that pieces that are investment pieces to me are like a turtleneck. Get a good one, a black one. And then you can buy other colors, but a black one for sure.
Yeah.
I think a turtleneck. I think a blazer. I think a cardigan.
Wow.
And I would say a pair of awesome boots that preferably are over the knee.
Oh, so over the knee.
Over the knee.
Okay, I was about to ask, boots, like short over the knee boots.
Over the knee.
Okay.
I love them. And because I think they look really good with dresses.
Yep.
And they look, you know, I think you can dress it up and go out, and I don't know, I just think it dresses things up. I like them over pants that are like skinny.
Yeah.
And I think they're very sexy.
Yes.
They don't have to be high to be sexy.
Exactly.
Because my idea of like sex appeal is not really about the reveal all the time. I think it's just I think you're either a sexy person or you're not. And then if you want to, you can expose yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But the sex appeal, I think, comes from you. I don't think it's from, you know, that. So yeah.
Fantastic. If I wanted to buy your line or go check it out, where would I go?
So right now on our website, MimiPlange.com is the only place where you can get Mimi Plange. And we actually don't have clothing available just yet, but it will be available this year.
Oh, fantastic.
And but we do have accessories and some of the collaborations, stuff that we've done with Roche Bobois. We have our skateboard decks that we did with them online, and a few of our handbags.
Fantastic. Perfect. So you can go there instead of being like me and like pulling one away from a woman at an event. So the last piece of this of today will be about Keep It Toss It, fashion do's, fashion don'ts. If you have the Keep app, there is a cool game called Keep It Toss It, where you can swipe to the right to keep something or swipe to the left to toss it. So I want to play that game with you.
Okay.
And I love to get these like answers. So the first thing, Keep It Toss It, black leggings.
Toss it.
Wow, toss it. Wait, what about like orange leggings?
Toss it. Look, I think, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I did used to wear leggings,
Yes.
you know, out, like when I'm going somewhere, but now I can't wear them to somewhere and feel serious, because I feel
Aina is very upset about this.
Oh my God. I think you could wear them like to the gym or maybe to the grocery store or something like that. But part of your outfit.
I just bought 2 new pairs. What am I gonna do with them? Aina, I have to be honest. I feel your pain here. So you think they're a little too casual, a little too lowbrow?
I think for work and for certain things, but I think if you're like in your neighborhood and you're running errands, I think that they're okay.
So put them like in the pajama drawer.
Yeah, like to me, I mean, leggings in your like for running errands or going to the gym or like being in your neighborhood, but not to like go out and wear like a shirt and put some leggings on and some heels. No.
Aina wants to know, what about with the sharp blazer?
No.
Sorry, Aina. I tried.
No.
Birkin bags. Keep or toss? Because I've heard some things over the years, now the past 5 years, it used to be, everyone has to have one. Now, Birkin bag, keep it or toss it?
I would say keep it because it's an investment piece. It's a special piece. They don't make that many a year. Like if you can get one, I think it's worth keeping.
Worth keeping, good. Disco sparkles during the day.
I don't mind sparkles during the day.
I don't either. In fact, I encourage it.
I don't mind them.
I would be so happy if I came to the office and everyone was wearing sparkle tops. That would be I think it's cool.
I think it's cool too. I have no problem with that. I think
I love the best about it when you're walking to work and you tell people like, where is she going? You're like, just in my office, that's all. That's my office. Fantastic. Chunky necklaces?
Yes.
Keep. Fantastic. Plaid.
Keep.
Really?
I like plaid.
Okay.
I do like plaid.
Lace corsets or just those corsets over the clothes that everyone was wearing a year or 2 ago?
Does it have to be over the clothes?
I'm thinking, yeah. Wait, how else have you seen them?
I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, you could wear it by itself as a see-through, right? Or it'd be too sexy.
Unless you're certain people, but most of us.
I think that's fun.
Okay.
I'll keep it.
Okay, cool. Fringe bags. Keep, okay. Millennial pink. Did you know that was a color?
Yes.
Okay.
And I know, I'm a pink person though.
You are.
I do like pink, so that's definitely pink.
So do you have a lot of things pink in your closet?
No.
Well, neither do
I think maybe one.
I don't even think.
But I design a lot of pink things.
I know.
But I do love pink. But I like a dusty rose.
Yeah.
Like that's my tone. It's like dusty rose. It's kind of like that dirty, dusty, pink. That's my pink.
Fantastic. Perfect. Fanny packs. What were they called last year? There was a name for them. They tried to
I know.
Bum bags.
What is it?
Bum bags.
Bum bags. They tried to
Bum bags.
rebrand those last year. The fanny packs.
I don't know.
No, I'm gonna toss that.
Yeah.
Should we toss it? Good. Sock booties.
Sock booties. Maybe on some people.
Okay.
Not on me.
Not on you. Okay.
But on some people, yeah.
6-inch heels.
If you can do it.
Yay.
If you can do it, why
Great,
not?
great.
I feel,
Great, fantastic. Bomber jackets.
Yes.
Light blue leather jackets.
Definitely yes.
Statement earrings.
Yes.
Fantastic. Off the shoulder tops. They were huge the past couple summers.
Oh yeah.
Keep them?
Yes.
Okay, cool. White accessories.
White?
Yeah, white accessories.
Oh, yeah.
Keep them. Last but not least, pom-poms. I know for a couple of years they've been a big trend. Pom-poms on the bags, on the slides. Keep or toss? Very controversial question, guys.
That is very controversial. That's the last one. Oh my god. I guess I'm right in the middle. I'll lean towards the keep for now, depending on how it's done.
Okay, depending on how it's done. Fantastic. So, thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone who came in today. I'm sorry?
We have a couple questions from the audience.
Questions. Okay, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, well, there was one about Mimi as, you talked a little bit about kind of the inspiration for your line, but do you use yourself as part of your muse for your pieces? Are they extensions of who you are?
Only in the sense that I'm the one who's creating it, but honestly in my mind when I'm thinking about the woman that I want to design for, I mean, she does have a lot of things that I like. I see her as like somebody who's like really confident, like somebody who's not like a slave to labels. Like they're not a follower. They're not the kind of person that wants to wear everything that everyone else is wearing. So I'm very unique. I like uniqueness. I like women who have their own unique sense of style. So in that sense, yes, because I do push for like individuality, and I do push for a woman who has her own, uniqueness in that way. But the design itself, I'm not thinking of myself like that when I'm designing. If it comes out, I think it just comes out because it's me.
And then another one was, are there any noteworthy women that we would have know of who have worn your pieces?
Oh, well, well, there's a lot. I think every single woman who's ever worn our piece is a noteworthy woman, but there's former First Lady Michelle Obama, who that was a huge honor.
That
to
was
dress
amazing.
her.
You know, I saw that. I was going to ask you about that, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't know if you want to like get into that or not, but I'm so happy. Thank you to whoever asked that question. So Michelle Obama, wore your piece.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Michelle Obama. There's been Rihanna. Most recently, Gabrielle Union, Viola Davis, Vanessa Hudgens, Paris Hilton, Terry Hatcher. A lot of people.
Wow.
Fantastic. Great.
Those are the big ones.
Those are the big two questions. Fantastic. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Thank you so much for all of you who followed all of the people that we interviewed. This was fantastic. I actually got a comment from someone that every month we should have a special guest. So stay tuned for more of these. For me, it was a huge honor to sit with amazing women, and of course for Mimi to end our series. So thank you so much again. And thanks everyone for watching. Thank you.